Welcome to another edition of Strange New Pod. I am your cadet master, Giraffe, one day away from retirement, alongside the best faculty this side of the Golden Gate Bridge. Today, joining us for the last time this academic year, we have adjunct Erik, who has definitely canceled his subscription to Binary Raw Network after this merger, right?
Yeah, I can't. I don't like the new management. I don't align with their ideals.
Yeah.
And Dean Hawk, who is just coming back from Take Down the Wall protest.
Mr. Braca, tear down that wall.
How are we doing, everybody?
Oh,
We're good.
lovely. Just
Yeah.
lovely.
At least
We're freezing. You're like,
You're
dying.
burning up. We're all
Yeah.
sick.
I am on a heat wave here, heat advisory. It's been 90 degrees. It's so warm.
God.
I'm
Me
like,
and Hawk are in a
everything is
nice storm.
open.
Mhm.
Ice storm right now.
Yeah.
All of my neighbors can hear the podcast.
As they
is-
should. They should just be, listening in live anyway and
Yeah.
putting those super
Exactly.
chats to us.
Yes, super chat us, neighbors. Today, we're gonna review the finale of Starfleet Academy. Can we believe it's already been 10 episodes?
Unreal.
So
fast.
fast. They
Fast.
grow up so fast.
No, these are the worst here.
A story by Noga Lando and Gaia Violo, teleplay by Alex Kursman, and directed by Olatunde Osunsami. Rubincon.
What a misdirect.
What a
Yeah.
misdirection. Will our cadets manage to save the Federation? Will Nahla get away from her trial and the one of the Federation? This is what we're gonna review today. First, I will thank our patrons. I will do it for the last episode of the season. Are we ready? Yes. Thanks to Simon Stegers, Jeff Reeve, Talula, Jen Stein, Tina Alexander, Joseph Porito, Kang Hui, Takako Nagumo, Fernanda Nogales, SMK, Colin Davidson, Shadowhand 2049, Jesco, Michael Graham, Emily and Travis, Maggie Light, Wayne Ritz, Scott of Arc, Sean, Jay Howard, Mahelani Uchiyama, Matt Harker, Joshua Lewis, Tara Poland, Soap74, Rid Parakeet, Adam Sanders, Amy the Magic Snail, Aaron W, Carl Angeli, Michael Kwan, Caitlin, Elizabeth Dean, Jim McMahon, Sedano317, Puka Hair, Free for Ice Shorts, Cat TP, Tripping the Read Alert over a Pineapple, Sean Manning, Ashra the Bat, Chris Waterman, RHCV, Martin Simpson, Norman Buckle, Dave Prime, Hildebrand, Terrin J. Robinson, Rob Greiner, Eric Durrett, Trouble, Jamie Roberts, Honeyberry, Paul Taylor Pitt, Brett Jones, Michael P. Michelle P. Margin Walker 82, Melissa Botel, Jesse Robbins, Kim, Chris Benolio, Felix Dax, Keely McKinnon, Chief Petty Officer Snuggles, Lisa Moore, Kirsten Beyer, Big Easy Blasphemy, Christian Smith, and Brad the Mac. Thank you. Wah! And of course, a big thanks to our bad mirrors or EPs who have renewed us for season 2.
Hey.
Thank you. Simon Steger, Chris Waterman, Tara Poland, Dana, Matt Hawker, Jim McMahon, Maggie Light, Fef, Michael Graham, and Jesse. Okay, friends, do we have news? Any news? No news. I'm gonna read all the news. Julian has many news.
Mhm.
Be ready. Okay. When the Talons breaks, one shot move to Sunday the 29th at 11:30 a.m. More crew rotations for Cries of Mars coming next week, featuring a combo interview with Jesse and Chris, aka Captain Morningstar and Commander Merrick. MC will also be doing a GM interview with Julian. This written Giraffe, talk about upcoming content. Yes, I will do that after. Merch, patrons, we have one more sticker to announce. Lizard babies been or in, and then everything should be shipped out in early April. If you'd like to help us with shipping costs, please consider making a super chat tonight. Shipping costs are becoming very expensive, friends. It is becoming complicated.
Yeah.
At WonderCon in Anaheim, end of March. I will be on a cosplay panel. Come say hi. Come say hi, please. I will have a lot of little ribbons for your badges. Yeah. And well, now that we're done with the Academy, almost done, one more episode, we will still be here on your platform, on your podcast platforms, and in your ears. We're gonna do comic book reviews. We're gonna do interviews. We have a lot of different things we want to do. We have a lot of very cool people we want to talk with. We'll still be here, friends. Still, like, stay plugged. We will bring you more Star Trek, even when there is no more Star Trek until April. We don't know, actually. There is always more. There is always more new Star Trek with the comic books and the books and all this. Go listen to Khan if you have not done so.
Oh, so good.
Yeah. Okay, friends, are we ready? Are we ready? How is the chat doing? Hello. Okay.
They're talking about the
chat is
episode
hopping.
length or the season length for the show and how they want more episodes.
Yeah, we need more episodes, but also we need bigger arcs then. I just see that it's written. I agree with Erik. I'm like, okay, good.
Damn
Okay.
straight.
Let's go for our review of episode 10 of Starfleet Academy Season 1, Rubincon. Yes, Captain Judge Reno! Woo! We left the Athena stranded at the wall of mines, and it's not the end of their journey yet. They get boarded by the Venery Roll. Anisha and Nahla get kidnapped. The cadets hidden under pressure, literally. And the Doctor and Jet Reno are left to die on the ship by the pirates. But thanks to literature, oh la la, the Doctor saves everyone. They are now a new crew under the impeccable command and tenure and teaching of our favorite engineer ever, Jet Reno. Let's start this review by talking about our 6 cadets and their captain, their new captain. I hope their captain, the commander-in-chief, will keep Caleb for the end of this review. But let's talk Jaden, Genesis, Darem, Sam, and Terima in the order that you want. What did you think of their roles in this finale? I feel they took a little bit of a, second role, like backstage a little bit. Let's do Erik and then Hough. What did you think of Jaden and Genesis, Darem, Sam, and Terima in this episode?
All in general for these kids, I like that this is sort of like the first year of university where if you're undeclared, you're like, you know what? I don't know what I'm going to be, where I want to go. Some people want to go take the command thing. People want to go science. But this episode really cemented where I feel like all of these kids are going to be going in the future. Like next season, we could totally see all of these kids in their specific fields. Starting with Jaden, obviously the healer of the group. He gets to deal with the Doctor, although we don't really see him in the show that much. He does figure out the sort of the crux of, or the solution to, what the Doctor is trying to communicate. Like he's talking about how languages, they're not, there's a special language between Genesis and Sam, but maybe it's the way that they communicate. Maybe the Doctor is trying to communicate in a different way. Like I thought that was really cool. Even though most of the story, like they all get little tidbits this episode, there's only so much you can do in an hour. But that was Jaden's most of his thing. He's going to be the healer. We know he's going to take the medical path. Genesis, we see her. She gets to take the con. We all know that she's going to take the command route, right? She's that person. She's that smart kid. She's confident. She knows how to, talk to her friends. She knows their strengths, their weaknesses. We'll talk about her and Sam, their connection later. But I like that she got to take the con. She's command wise, right?
Let's talk
Yeah.
now about Genesis and Sam. Actually,
Okay.
we're going to tackle all the cadets. Let's go. I want to talk about this track after.
Well, maybe I'll get to Genesis and Sam when I get to Sam.
Okay.
Darum, the hotshot, cocky guy who thought he was going to be a pilot. You know, everyone, I guess. I also
The
didn't call him
Tom
dude.
Paris of him all.
He is the Tom Paris of this, right?
Yep.
That's what he feels like. He's the
He's
AC
the Erik
Slater and Tom
Canaria.
Paris. Like, yeah, I loved it. I love that and you know that those hotshot pilots all want to be captain anyway one day, right?
Mhm.
So, you know, I like that he found his sort of his niche in this. Like Jet Reno kept on like being like, you know, that's some good flying. That's some great stuff. Which is, you know, why Jet Reno needs to be in everything. More. I'm glad that she got to, you know, shine in this episode. Sam, I could totally see her going into the sciences. Like she was the chief science person in this episode, which I loved. I like seeing her work on the mines. I like
Really? Not an engineer? Not operation science?
I like her under science. I think engineering is gonna be Mir. I think he's the engineer.
I feel like too.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Sam and Genesis, their fraught relationship, their newly fraught relationship in one episode. I don't know. There's something. It felt like a step back having them have this conflict this late in the season. Like I understand she has two personalities. There's two wolves inside of her or whatnot. No. But I do like that she's ashamed, not ashamed of what she is, but sort of ashamed that she was a little kid with them and now she's this grown person. And the fact that she realizes that it's her feeling the insecurity towards Genesis, even though Genesis isn't actually, you know, projecting any of this, like, you know, looking down on her because she was this little kid in a 17-year-old's body. She's just that person that she loves. And I love this propping up of each other, like these two strong women of color, you know, propping up each other at the end of this, in that little spring, in that little section with their little language. And that eventually leads to the solving of the, you know, the Rubicon stuff. I really like the relationship. I hope it grows a lot more. Like I want to see them as like those best friends, like Tom and Harry. I want them to be the Tom and Harry of this group. I don't know why. I just like them without, you know, one, you know, manipulating the other one all the time.
Hough?
Oh wait, and Tarima.
Oh yeah, Tarima. Yeah.
Yeah, no, she's okay. She's gonna be communications, it feels like. I like that she got to believe in herself and realize that she can control her powers, her abilities.
Yeah,
right?
the Jean Grey power of her. Like
That's what I think of. I think of
the Dark Phoenix. Like
But
literally.
I do like that Caleb ended up trusting her, or like opening up to her, and in their, you know, in their thought palace. And it was a really sweet moment. I really enjoyed it. Having him and Tarima stand at the view screen and like sort of find his mom. It felt really Star Trek the Motion Picture. I don't know why, but that image of them two standing there and then like going through space.
Yeah,
gave me
she can feel all the mutants.
Yes, that's because she's Jean Grey.
Yeah.
There you go. That's all the kids.
Hough?
So yeah, Jaden was a little sidelined this episode in that, but I did love the bro hug between him and Caleb in that. You know, it's like everything's still cool between us. It was such a like he's basically put in charge, being the chief medical officer at this point. You know, like for all these kids in that, it's like, you know, this is basically the final exam. You know, I love that they kind of yeah, no, the final exam
In the danger zone.
I love how Jet Reno brought up like the, you know, the whole failed, like, you know, the simulation and that, you know, the episode 6, what was the ship? I can't remember the name now. Yeah, I'm blanking. The
Kobayashi thing.
The like the Miyazaki.
The Miyazaki.
Miyazaki.
Yes, that brought that up in contrast with this. You know, it's like all those kids, even in this the situation and that. They knew they had a role and they just jumped into it.
Mhm.
Jaden, yes, I love that he found that, you know, the aphasia that the doctor was suffering from actually still had a basis in his language, and that he was mixing up phrasing, he was repeating everything and that, but within that, the language he was speaking, and that there was still meaning. I love that he was the one who got there. Genesis, yes, takes the captain's chair because of course. And that, I mean, like, she's kind of secretly been the glue behind this crew the entire season, right? She's groomed for it. I love that little non-serious bit they threw in there. It's like, I have to pee.
That was very Marvel-ish of them to do.
That
It
was
felt like a Marvel thing,
yeah.
which, you know, good and
Yeah.
bad. I didn't mind it.
With Durham and that taking over the pilot's position, and basically like almost crushing the ship in the gravitational way by trying to stop, and that. I did love the teaching moment with Reno and that. Not only is she a great commander in that, but she's still a teaching commander in that. She's telling him about like how I wrecked 3 shuttlecrafts when I was learning in that. And do you know how hard it is to wreck a shuttlecraft?
Is it weird that Durham showed us like that second skin in the first episode and we never got it
I
again?
know.
Eric,
I know
But
it's expensive.
this is why they
Budget.
killed what his face Hammer. All right, they don't want to pay for this makeup. They were like, literally, we talked about it like in episode. I will never let episode 7 rest. Know that
You shouldn't. No, it should.
like they should have used it at that episode. Why not? But no, we can't have anything nice, Eric.
Sam had a great moment. I love the continuation of her arc from the last episode, and that she is a different person than that. She's not the Sam she was, and the one that we kind of came to love, and that she's a different Sam, but at the same time she's still the same Sam. She's just a bit grown up in that. I think it's this growing pains thing. I did love that she and Genesis worked it out, and how it really wasn't like it wasn't Sam was kind of like had gone cold on her, and that it was it was more concerned. It's like, I'm not the same person. You're not I'm not going to be that person that you guys fell in love with anymore, and that. But that person's still there. It's just different. I love how Reese Brooks is kind of in the middle of this, in the end of the season. It's kind of there is something different in the way she plays the character now, and I think it's a brilliant kind of choice that she's done in the way she's done this role. I really can't wait to see what they do with her in the next season. Tarima, yes, there was a reason they left, like that gulf between her and Caleb, like going since episode 6. It was really to get to this moment, and she had some really strong like kind of Troy vibes for me this season. She honestly looks like a direct descendant of Deanna Troy. But I also like how it emphasized, like, we kind of forget how powerful beta Zeds are. Even Troy being like only able to sense emotions can still sense emotions like, hundreds of kilometers away. Like, when they're meeting ship to ship and that, it's still
daughter of the 5th house, bitch.
Damn right.
Holder of the Callus of Beta Zed.
Yep.
I won't lie that I have a lot of grip with that episode. A lot.
Yep.
And I think the way that those cadets were tackled, for me, felt very performative. Like, they need to have each one of them something to do. And I mean, that's exactly what you said. Oh, Durham is going to be the pilot. And Genesis is going to be the captain. And Jaden's going to be doctor. And, and I'm just like, during the first year of university, like, chill, like predeterminism, like, I didn't know what the fuck I was going to do first year of university. Did you? But like, it was really like, oh, per contract, each of them needs to have that many line. And it felt really like, that joke about like, if Indiana Jones doesn't exist,
Yes.
the last
same
crusade
events
still
still
like
play
go
out.
through the same
Raiders,
way.
Raiders, yeah.
Okay, this is the same thing with this episode. Do 6 cadets could not be in here, it would have been the same fucking episode. Like, they don't need to be here. They're here because because Starfleet Academy is about them, but that episode is not about them. And I'm super happy to see them. I have no problem. But it felt so much of like that many minutes on each of their face. And I was like, they are not instrumental to the plot. Every plot point that they're instrumental to is a plot point that has been made so they can be instrumental to something. None of it was necessary. Zero of it. And it's just like because they were so purposeful and they were so in like important to plots in the previous episode. Like if you take 108, for example, each of them brings something so important. And here they're just manning stations and things that I've seen 17 billion times. I will say that one thing I really appreciated is Sam telling Genesis to fuck off, because the idea of like, I have a problem with Arcane. I'm gonna make so many enemies tonight. Let's go.
The animated series?
Oh yeah. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. And my main issue, it's gorgeous.
Mhm.
It's gorgeous. I may or may not have dated one of the ADs a long time ago. So it does good jobs. I will say that. But my thing is that spoiler, if you've not watched Arcane, go away, go back in 10 minutes, 2 minutes, 5 minutes. Like that black girl, like who's like the quirky little lab assistant, and she gets spread. She's like the quirky best friend. She's like a little fatty, and she's like so happy, and she's so good, and she's here to help, and then she dies. Well, I'm very glad that Sam gets to address this, because she was the quirky, the quirky black friend, that is here to be the help of the beautiful blonde girl, And I think that the way they wrote Sam into, I am not here to be your help. I am not here to make you feel like the hero. Ha! That was great. I love that part. There are 3 things I loved in that episode, and that is one of them. And I felt that it was really needed that it gets addressed, because there is that, dichotomy between how she is now and how she remembers being. And she was definitely the quirky best friend, And so I really appreciated that scene, and that the fact that at the end they managed to accept that and go through that and pass over that was great. I don't think that was the place to have that conversation. It was weirdly put there, but I'm like, that is one of the 3 things I absolutely adored in that episode. Torima, Darim, Genesis sitting on the chair needing to pee, because we all know girls have small bladders, right, guys? I'm like, oh, okay, why not?
I thought she was just getting excited. I pee when what?
Yeah, but also I suppose that if you're given like a big responsibility and we tell you now you have the call and you're not gonna be, I need to pee, because
that's what I did right before the podcast.
See,
because I got excited.
Yeah, that for me it felt like a missed opportunity to use the cadets in that finale. Again, they were not really important, and we're gonna talk about the rest just after. But I was kind of that it was how I get to say goodbye.
So when I think about the kids, all taking their positions, it makes me think that's the reason why Occam wasn't there, which really sucks, because I really like Occam and his how he's part of this group, right?
Where is Occam? Occam has been gone for like 2 episodes.
I don't know, but he felt like such a good glue for them, especially when he was the stage manager in episode 8. So this one, I was like, did they just not know where to put him?
Occam should have been. No, yeah, absolutely. First of all, I think you're right, and 2, I have the perfect position for him. Is Deanna Troy? He's gonna sit next to Genesis and chill her every time that thing happens.
He can wear jammies; it would be fine.
Yeah, he needs to be the ship counselor. I'm telling
you. And no Kyle either, says Dave.
Yep.
Yeah, no Kyle either. Yeah, Kyle has been gone also. Yeah.
For a long time.
Yeah, but he's war college, so
they didn't negotiate their contract as well as do sex. I'm telling you. And I'm right. The worst thing about this is that I am right. Okay, the doctor. When the wall fell, his arms wide. um, the doctor extends his matrix to hide the Athena with his abilities. We see his little figure magic
I know.
from Voyager.
That was awesome.
And he now holds the key to how we can stop all the mines from exploding and manages to get through to Sam and Jaden. That's what I was talking about as a bit of unnecessary plot point to make things a little bit difficult so the cadet have something to do. What do you think about that whole Hermes 16? I think it's Hermes 19, Hermes 16. I don't remember. Like,
I know what you're
ability
talking.
that he has to like hide the ship. What did you think of that circumvoluted solution with the gluons and the Rubicons and the Rubik cubes and all this? Erik.
So I do like the literary reference that Ake did so that the doctor could be like, you know what, I know what to do. That was
Do
cool.
you know that reference, though?
I do. I don't
so
remember. I don't have it
obscure.
off my hand. Yeah,
It's
It's
Hermes Trismegistus. It's like an
Yeah.
apocryphal like text from antiquity. It's like something like way like honestly, that should be something I may have stumbled in my studies and I did not remember. I knew it existed, but I would not have been able to clock that. Like, that was crazy.
I recognized the beginning, but the ending felt different to me when I heard it, and I was like, "This sounds really familiar." So I looked it up, and I was like, "Oh, I do know this." So random. I thought the ploy was, it was neat. It looked cool. I like that there was no intro because I don't generally like the intro of the show, but you know, I thought it looked cool. I thought when hollow emitters happen and you fire and when you fire on holographic matter, it still like takes the shots, right? Like, I feel like the ship shouldn't have gotten hit. I don't know. That's just me overthinking it. But the explosion looked cool. I like that everyone thought it was done. The ship got destroyed more.
They have no
more or less.
sensors, Erik.
Yeah.
They don't
Yeah.
scan. They don't scan for survivors. They don't scan for shit.
They're pirates. They don't need to. They saw it
don't
with their
need
own
to.
eyes. I saw it. Don't tell me it didn't happen.
Don't tell me that
I
happened.
saw it happen. Don't tell me it didn't happen.
I was there. I saw it happen.
It was a neat trick. I liked it. I like it was a way to get the doctor hurt so that he could
Mhm.
somehow figure out. But at this point, I don't understand how he figured it out after he blew up. That's what I was like. Okay, I don't know. Like, yeah. Anyway,
Plutium.
but it looked cool. I like the intro. I thought it looked cool. It was a fun intro. It was very cinematic. It was beautiful. So
Hot.
that.
It definitely felt basically like moving the plot forward in that, it's the Deus Ex Machina thing and that, but even still, it's the doctor, his aphasia like moments in that when they're trying to suss out what his meaning was in that had a real kind of Picard Locutus vibe in that with the sleep data. I think that was definitely what they were going for. But yeah, like him, like basically using the hollow middle, going into the ship and that, I can kind of see it, I mean, like, yes, it is a little inconvenient that the pirates somehow don't scan for actual life signs, but yeah. Like I said, like Erik said, it looked really cool, kudos all season long to the production designers and the VFX artists in that, because it's still like we have had movie quality Star Trek episodes like the entirety of the season with moments like this. So I'm not really going to complain too much about it. It moved the plot forward.
I mean, it's not not bad. My problem is that's what you're gonna give the doctor to do in the finale. You have Bob Picardo right here, and you just make him like rumble about glue and shoes. Like, I'm just like, and also
He did give it his all, though. It was awesome.
You know that it's like Shatner, right? Like these two guys, they each scene, even like one line, they get everything out of it.
Yeah.
But I was just maybe I asked myself too many questions, and mostly I do, but I was like, you can communicate to people inside the bubble. There are so many scientists. Don't you think people have figured that out already? Like Vance shows up with Lord of Thok, hands in the pockets. Like they're like more like about, I'm sorry, Anisha, like we want to tell you. And I'm like, don't you have like a slew of scientists that already should have come up with that theory? If like the doctor can and Sam can, like it's again needing the cadet to do something, you know? Yes.
You know what I thought was going to happen? I thought that the doctor and Sam were going to go into their holographic world and like spend like, you know how everything is faster?
No.
They talked about it 2 episodes ago. I thought that's how they were going to solve it. Is like they were going to spend the time for a long period of time.
And I like that because
Like a
I
rock top
feel
thing.
that, you know, science magic is fun, but also science take fucking time, you know? And I would have been more, I don't know, maybe amazed by the Federation if like Vance were like, when that happened, we got everybody, you know, to the table and they were like, okay, find a solution, right? And then they found a solution rather than being like, I know, like the Rubin particle. I'm like, oh, okay, let's do that right now. So you mean that that thing has been on for how long? And that's the, you know what that's what I mean by they needed something for the cadets to do. So that's what the cadets are doing. But I feel they were so many more different, interesting approach to do that, and it's kind of like feel a little bit partial and a little bit also pieces of things. Oh, we need a solution. Let's give the solution to Sam. Oh, actually, we're gonna give it to the doctor because like that the doctor has something to do. And then, but it's not. It should not be too easy, so the doctor cannot speak, and then they need to figure it out. Something like that. Jaden has something to do, and I'm just like, oh, okay, just do the Technobabble and like get the fuck out of it. Just finish it already, you know? And that's what I mean by an unnecessary circumvolution of plot. You know, it was really, we need to give Bob Picardo something to do. We need to do, you know? And I'm like, okay, why not? Why not? But the glue on the shoes and the Rubin particle, and these being the title of the episode.
You know how many times I had to redo the intro because it kept on auto-correcting to Rubicon?
Did you see how many people online were like tagging Strange Report and being, you made a typo. It's Rubicon and not Rubincon. And I'm like, get the fuck out of here. Anyway, it's time for daytime TV on Subspace on the Binary Roll Network. Nus has kidnapped Anisha and Nahla and put Nahla on trial on his own TV network? Question mark. First of all, let's talk about these pirates. We've not talked about the Binary Roll nearly enough. They are organized motherfuckers. I will say that. Like, those guys have managed to put mines all around the Federation, interlapping with no holes anywhere. They have a full, like, network system. They want to create an alliance of outside world that are not in the Federation. So aren't they just like, you know, the Federation? And this is an important question for this episode, because I feel that my main problem is that I am not convinced Nus Braa is wrong, and it is just he's villain coded. But if he was not villain coded and it was not like in fire and like red and like, you know, all those like things, I don't think the guy is entirely wrong. Erik, what do you think?
I think that would have been more compelling, to be honest. This is where I miss longer seasons of shows, because they could have done a whole episode just on the Binary Roll.
Yes.
Like, we could have saw it from their perspective. When I think about like good stories and like having a good antagonist, I think about people like Killmonger and Black Panther, where, you know what? He's not wrong.
He's not wrong.
and he's just from a different perspective. I wanted to see that from Nus Braa. He went really like fully evil guy in this. But like when you listen to him talk about how when he was a kid and, you know, they were abandoned and he thought that the Federation, you know, they opened fire on his colony. Like that would have been super compelling to have him be like a villain that is also relatable because
Thank
he was,
you.
you know, the info that he was given at that time is wrong. So he wanted to build something that was better. And I think there's actually hints of that in the con podcast that you guys reviewed, right?
Mhm.
And we see that in so many things. Like this is like the Federation. They have a news network, right? They have engineers and scientists making mines. Like this is just like
They have a fleet.
they have a fleet like of big ships. And you know, it's
Mhm.
not like they're using little lizard babies to, you know, make these
Just
make
wanted
these
to say
ships.
that.
I just wanted to say
that.
that, to be honest.
Yeah.
But yeah, like listening to him talk about his childhood made me want more from him, and I feel like we could have had more. But yeah, this is it's hard to not think that from a certain point of view, he's not wrong to feel wronged.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot, we could explore in the burn and that, we kind of got a little glimpse of that, like, the fact that like, all these outliers and that who, we think are just like kind of disparate. They're very organized, but in season 3, like when like Vance was actually negotiating and that, like with Osira, part of me thought like, it's there is definitely something to explore there in that. What if all these kind of outliers and that got together and formed their own coalition and that, and like this is what they're doing here with Nus and that, except with Nus, it's about like, we're just going to replace the Federation and that, when really, it would be much more interesting if he had just, it's like, we have this network, we have this power and that. And it's like, you're still expanding your thing and that. It's like, you have to deal with us, negotiate with us. Instead of like, we got the full on villain arc with Nus and that, it's like, walling in the Federation and that under threat of like, basically having the entire, Federation, destroyed with, one click of a button, it's more the typical villain route in that. I know we really wanted more. Like, and we saw like, how, basically how like, how smart and how deceptive and how like cunning he is, like, with like, his brief appearance, like in episode 6, definitely looking for more of a villain arc from him and that, but we got this, the live trial and that, a lot of like, and no fault to Paul Giamatti. He did a great job in that, he was really vibing with
absolutely
the side of that. But yeah, I would have loved to have seen like the Venari role actually become something that had to be dealt with, like, they actually not dealt with, but negotiated with, I
think that's also like my issue with this is that the whole season kept telling us the Federation fucked up on many different levels, right? And people suffered for real, and that created parallel type of governments. People like Beta Z created their own coalition, their own alliance, put themselves behind a wall. They're fine, it's Beta Z, or like, please come back in. And Nus is portrayed like that horrible villain, and he's coded like a villain, you know what I mean? Like, oh, he has defaced the academy, there is fire and it's black and red, like just to make sure that we get on board with he's a bad guy. But there is nothing in what he's doing that is not something Betizik has done. Betizik put the Federation on trial. It was fine. Like,
I mean, the Federation does it to other people all the time.
And the Federation put people on trial all the time. And when they're like, oh, and the pillaging planet, that's what the fuck the Federation does too. Like, I mean, you get into the Federation, you have to give the lithium, you have to do all that. That's a coalition, that's a union, you know what I mean? Yep. And I'm like, that is the way they talk about the coalition of the Venari role that makes it bad. But I have not seen anything that is bad. And the thing is that so far in the academy, everybody was like, the Federation was imperialistic, the Federation was colonialist. Like, Even the cadets say so. Jaden says so. Caleb says so. Okay? They said, you're brainwashed, by the comic books and all this. But in this episode, when Caleb is like, being the Federation is great, and Nus is like, you're brainwashed, Nus is wrong. And I'm like, he's evil. and that is my main problem with this episode, is that they backpedaled so bad into no, the Federation is great. Like, a few things they should have kept that DS9 vibe they were going for. The Federation fucked up. Yeah, let's say that the Federation actually bombed that planet. That is so much more interesting than no, your dad blew up the planet. This is all your fault. I'm like, but that doesn't change that everybody died. That doesn't change anything. Nus Braa didn't do anything, that he was bombed by the Federation or blew up by the despair of his dad because the Federation was ignoring them. The result is still the same. You cannot negate what is went through, because whose responsibility? And I'm like, I am so disappointed that the Academy will give us like incredible deep episode on this, went back being like, no, the good people fire blue and green, only bad people fire red. I'm like, what the fuck is this, Star Wars? Like,
G.I. Joe.
They bleed their rage into their photons.
And I was like, it's like they went cold feet in that finale, and they could have had such an incredible like Dominion War DS9. I can live with this episode, and they were like, ooh, no, the Federation is still the good guy. And
like imagine if they took the atrium and they did the rip flags and all. Look, there's rubble over here and shit over here. Imagine if they actually
fire, like it almost looked like
and graffiti,
hands on fire.
It's like the student barricade from Les Mis, right? That's what they were getting, that vibe.
Exactly.
But like, imagine if you built an actual like courtroom there, like, and made it like those classic Star Trek like debate right at the end. Like that would have been way more compelling. And especially when we get like Ake and like her reasonings, like they're great and all, but we'll get to that in the next section. But like, it would have felt way more compelling if it felt like it was an actual trial, not just like this mock trial that they're doing. It felt like a mock trial. That's the only thing. Like, there's no point in my brain where I was like, Nus Braa and his coalition is gonna say, you know what, the Federation is right. There was no point in that.
And that's what I meant by like, they had to really hammer the villain aesthetics, because if you put all this in like an Federation aesthetic, the guy is not fucking wrong. He's not entirely wrong. Like, I'm like, I don't trust him as far as I can throw him, and I'm not sure I can throw Paul Giamatti, but I'm like, I don't know. Like, when the Federation was started by fucking Captain Archer, the guy was a genocidal maniac. He killed a lot of fucking people, and everybody was fine because he liked gazelles or something like that. I'm like, if you look at how the Federation was founded, that was not pretty either. And I'm just like, I don't know how this episode tackled this. But let's talk more about metaphors and allegories. And I think that's also my issue with that episode, is that they half-assed that metaphor. And, there's one thing I don't like, is when you think I'm an idiot and you need to hammer so much a metaphor to make sure that I know that guy is the villain. What did you think of this episode going straight in a very not so subtle allegory of US politics? Like, with the CNN logos, like all of this, I felt it was a little bit too much. Erik?
I mean, we had talked about this in the first episode, right? How we were saying like the separation of families, and like we're like, wow, they're getting really into modern day politics. And I always recall that one of the first things I remember you saying is that Star Trek is very America coded. Yeah. And I was like, and I always And I always think about that every time I watch an episode now, especially when, you get Nus Braa saying, well, you guys could have sang the Pledge of Allegiance. I was like, of what? Of the states? Like,
We don't have Pledge of Allegiance. I would not know what a Pledge of Allegiance were if I was not living in America.
and there were a couple times when he said stuff like that, and I was like, okay, yeah, I see the things you see. But yeah, the news network that is based on, one side, you're like, oh, okay, that's very apparent. You get Ake, who's talking about, peace and the Federation, and we get Caleb coming and talking about peace, and we all found our own spots. And then in the next 30 seconds, you see 400 ships show up and be like, you know what? We're also a military force, but we like
100 ships armed to the teeth. They literally said that in the episode. Yeah. I was like, okay, Dad.
I mean,
before we went live, I was telling Erik, it's like the Titan when Riker says the Titan is an exploratory vessel. I'm like, the fuck, it's not. It's a fucking military vessel. The Titan packs, and you know it. Like,
it's the only trombone controlled like missile launcher. It's very strange. But like, it was so. There's so much. I didn't know that they would go this very America, look at this, which I love. I love in sci-fi. I like when sci-fi takes a look at different perspectives from, in the sci-fi stance. BSG did this all the time, but here it felt very, I don't know, the ending when all the ships showed up. I was like, it just felt weird. Like to show the military force when you were talking about peace and understanding, but
and also when you had the Venerary Roll show up with all the ship on the planet, and I'm like, so you're doing the same shit than those guys again. Like, help me comprehend that without using he has a shaved head and looks weird and likes fire. He's a villain.
Like when Ake was starting to get through to the other members that were there, I thought something was going to happen that way. Not just them. They were going to just, take off and leave. And then I thought it would be like a coming together moment. Right? Yeah. Like you see all these people that are, they're
up for them to join the Federation. Up for them to help their world. Don't let them do their own shit if you don't want them to do their own shit.
That's exactly what I was thinking. I was like, I thought they would be like, let's come together and come to a solution. And inside it was like, let's come together with all our ships and show that you can't get away.
And beat you up on.
They didn't even show the fucking Discovery in those ships. Like, what the hell?
I know, they only mentioned it.
That's in one of my major gripe.
That is a major gripe, like especially after last week, and everyone's like, "Well, you can't warp through that." Well, like, and then one ship that doesn't do that.
Somebody must have told them, and I'm pretty sure they called a day fair, and they were like, "You're gonna record a few lines where you explain that." The Discovery cannot jump through the thing. I was like, motherfuckers.
Yeah. I don't know.
I mean, yes, not so subtle allegory to U.S. politics and that. I mean, Nus Braa is basically portraying the Venerary role and his cry for everybody to come together under his banner as someone who's operating without a kind of a system, an ideology that, like a vision to explore. And that is basically, it's just saying like Nus brought all these people together because of their one thing. It was a common hatred of the Federation and that, which obviously he stokes the flames quite a lot. It's like they are the worst, they are hypocrites and that. And it's like, but he really doesn't, because he doesn't really have a direction for them to go in, that he's still like the most terrible option in that. And I did love the little nod to like, yay education and that, and the way that they kind of took him down.
Listen.
Well, I mean, like, with like every cuts and that, like you were seeing, like with education, like, not just in America, they're doing the same thing in Canada, and that we have a premier who's like, telling university students and that, that they're wasting money taking basket weaving classes and that,
which we don't have.
And we don't have, no,
You don't have basket weaving classes?
I'm not a university, no.
Oh,
I mean,
it
it
can be
probably
an
like
elective.
probably like textile creation and stuff,
Mm,
but you
yeah.
know,
Yeah.
he's
Mm.
he's an idiot. So
Well, my main problem with that metaphor is that I want I I wanted that show to be kind of hopeful, and I always saw that the Federation was America and was like trying to make amend after having a boot of like bad leadership and like
Mm.
starting shit and abandoning people and blanket bombing innocent. I felt like the Federation bombing Nus Braa world would have been so good as a
Mhm.
plot, and to be, well, here you go, you are bombing a bunch of other people's planet, and that's what you're creating people that are going to come at your face with reason. And I'm like, I like that plot a lot. I
Yeah.
thought it was very smart, but then it was not that. And I was like, well, so if the Veneri role are like an allegory of America, then that means that who's like who's the Federation? If Federation is not America, then the metaphor is mudded, and by trying to be too much one-on-one, it doesn't work, and
Mm.
that is my problem with using this kind of in your face, like, oh, we're gonna do the Veneri Roll Network like CNN, like, we're gonna give you the impression, like 1,000 years, 2,000 years in the future or something. It is the kind of like same kind of like propaganda and stuff, and I'm just like, but then it doesn't work, huh? It doesn't work anymore. Like, you're fucking up your own allegory that you set it up from the beginning. And I'm like, why the backpedaling? Why the backpedaling? And I had like the whole yes. Eric the Red in the chat saying Starfleet doesn't target civilians. Stares in Michael Eddington. I'm like, Starfleet has targeted civilians. It has happened. Don't tell me it didn't happen. I saw it happen. I was there when it happened.
I feel like that line is being co-opted from me. I'm not happy.
And I'm like, and you literally are the show that have like brought back kinda like the Cisco, and I was like, make it a DS9 episode. This was a perfect setting for a DS9 episode where you would look into it. I'm saying the same thing over and over again because I'm pissed.
no,
But
it makes sense. Like even if Nus Braa's dad blew up their world, why was there no humanitarian aid provided by the Federation? Like that, even that would have been really like compelling as a moving forward point, right? Like,
and the thing, like, you had strontium. Well, if nobody comes and stop on the planet, like, so what? Like, that whole thing made no sense to me.
I know. I feel like they could have gone for something a bit deeper in that, but then again, like they are in episode 10. I feel like that kind of storyline would probably work better, like more in like say like an audio drama like Han and that, where it's like they could kind of, but with the finale of the first season of that, like they should have swung big, but they did play it safe. They wanted
Yeah.
to kind of go for the safe choices here.
And let's talk about like that point, like the Nus Braa childhood. You had strontium thing, I felt that Nahla, like her reaction to it, telling him like, your trauma is wrong, we're innocent. I'm like, the Federation is not innocent. Those people were starving, looking at transport passing by their planet over and over again. And you can tell him, oh, you had strontium, some planets just needed body bag, as an excuse for him seeing these whole people die. I'm like, that was so tone deaf and such like hierarchy of suffering, which I hate. That I hate the hierarchization of suffering. Like, and I understand leadership is taking hard decision, but you can't blame people that are suffering for like them trying not to die. That is not how it works. Like, this is your fault. In the end, whatever happened, you had strontium. Yeah, they couldn't sell it to anybody because nobody would stop on the planet. So then what? And I'm just like, I didn't like that like Nus Braa, I felt his backstory would have been so interesting if the Federation was indeed like responsible, or even if they didn't shoot, that Nahla would be, this is horrible what happened. And I see how the Federation is also not responsible, but has a hand into what happened. Not being like, the fire was red. I'm gonna ask my first year cadet, do you take exochemistry? Please tell me about strontium. I was like, bitch, this is so unnecessary. This is so mean. I get you don't like the guy, but I'm like, you're on TV right now. Like, this is not giving a good look to the Federation. What did you think about that?
So on initial view, I like that they did the teaching moment. Like, oh, did you learn about science, blah, blah, blah. And they did that. But it was sort of cruel that Ake didn't like feel for his pain. Like, this is something that, she knows that people have gone through all these bad things. And this whole season, like, I feel like Ake has been trying to atone for her past mistakes, right?
Mhm.
Like, that's the whole point of her story with Caleb moving forward, or moving from the first episode. So I sort of thought that there would be some sort of, trying to get. I'm always going back to the diplomatic solution, right? I always thought that this was going to move that way. So while I enjoyed that, this is science, blah, 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 there are other ships that could have done, red phaser fire, right? It couldn't have just been the Federation. It couldn't. If she knew about this planet and knew about the case, like, I can see her being more firm in her thought, but like, I feel like she could have been like, you know what, this is one possibility. We don't know. Maybe we'll do some sort of, research into it. We'll look into it, see what happens. Maybe we can work together. We'll bring our things. Again, I'm all about the collaboration for this. I wanted the Venari Ral to be a continuing thing moving forward. Like, it would have been a cool thread to always have, like, in the back. Like, this is, I know they didn't kill Nus Braa, but I don't want him to just be that one-off villain that's sort of off there, like Hydra's maybe somewhere, right?
Paul Giamatti said he was not going to be in season 2, so
Yeah.
A lot of actors say they're not in things, aka Chris Evans in Doomsday, right? Like, you never know. But I know he won't be a big thing. I don't know. I like the science thing from like where they had to go in their version, but like, I think it could have been better.
Yeah. Hawk, you have an opinion about this?
Yeah, I mean, as a trial episode, I didn't feel the stakes like as acutely in that, but like, I did like, Anisha Mir's like questioning of Aki in that, and especially like the thoughts and prayers that she kind of accused her of sending in that, basically, oh, you quit after, and that you convicted me and took my kid away in that, and it's like, what did you do afterwards? And it's like, I became a teacher in that, and it's like the soft landing thing that even Nus Braa like got a really big kick out of in that. Like, I really didn't know where Anisha's like role was going with this when it started. I guess we're going to talk about her next and that, so we'll try and keep it on Nahla and that. But yeah, I don't know. Like I said, it's like, for a trial episode, I didn't really feel the same stakes in that. It's like, she was always very confident throughout the whole thing. Like, she basically didn't really entertain this in any realistic way.
And that's the thing that is wild to me. He has the thing to detonate the whole Federation, and she's just like, "You're wrong. You're power." Because I'm like, girl, she doesn't know that they have a solution, right? She doesn't. She's super.
No, she it's a whole thing about she trusts that these cadets and that are going to come together as a team.
I don't think the 160 trillion of people that made I really trust them so much. But let's talk about Anisha Mir. The scenes of Anisha Mir. Ake is guilty. I loved that scene. I thought it was great. That was another thing I really liked. I would like to talk really about this plot point, about Anisha Mir as this person external to the Federation, but also that has her own moral compass. She's not Venery Rawl, apparently. Disappointed. What did you think of it? What did you think of Anisha's arc in general in these 2 episodes? From like being the fierce, like anti-Federation kind of Kira-esque character, to going to a trip after bringing her son to college, but mostly like this. Tell me
That's
I'm
what it
wrong.
was. That is what it was.
That is exactly what it was. So, that scene where she explains that Nahla didn't face any consequences. She wants to atone, but you know what? She retired. She became a teacher. She had it good. She didn't face any kind of repercussion for convicting Anisha and separating her from her son. She feels bad about it. Okay. And then what? Erik?
Yeah. So I like that this episode started with a flashback to the first episode, because it sort of it felt like it was from the perspective of Anisha Mir. Like everything felt like it was all like from her personally. So I thought that we were going to get really into this whole, we would find out the story behind her, and, we get to hear a little bit of it. But I don't know. I wanted to see why she was so anti-Federation before she got put in jail. I like that, she did understand that, people in higher up positions, if something bad happens, they'll get a slap on the wrist and get repositioned somewhere. Again, mirroring current politics in the US right now. Like, I did like some of it. I thought we missed a lot for her. Like, Tatiana Maslany is such a great actress, and to see her, like, the look on her face when Ake gave her a hug, and she's like, "Just listen to me." Like, that person, I don't know. It felt there was some weird, like, conjoining things in my head. I don't know.
Even
why.
when she wakes up on the Athena and she sees Ake, and she's like, no, and Ake speaks and she's like, no, and I'm like, that was so good. Like,
It was so good.
Anisha, no notes me, says K.O. Richardson. I'm like, yes.
Like, I wish we knew more about her. Like, I don't need to know more about her next season, because her storyline is sort of done for me. Like, she's now just the mom visiting college who might have some issues about politics, but again, mirroring.
She used to be a hippie in the 60s, she like
yeah, she just sort of went around and did things. She has some cool stories about how she used to hijack things.
Yeah.
And
what did you think about the dead pilot? Like, defense of Ake.
He was one day away from retirement.
1 day away from retirement.
I'm too old for this shit. I sat there and I was like, man,
I laughed out loud so hard when she said that. I was like, this cannot be. Who the fuck wrote that? Who went in the writer's room in Star Trek and wrote, he was 1 day away from retirement? How many times did they had to shoot that scene so nobody was like, this is stupid, don't do this? Like, please.
Yeah, it would have been cool if it was like someone we served together, right? We served together. I knew a family because we had gone through. Yeah,
surfed together.
Surfed together.
They didn't serve. They surfed.
They surfed. Like, my kid knew his kids, and it was devastating for all her family. Like, it could have been a more personal reason. That's why she put her in jail. Like, that would have been cool. Like, imagine, like, there was a personal stake, and she feels remorse because at the time she was emotional about having her friend die. Like, I don't know. Like, I want to know more about Anisha Mir, but now I don't care anymore.
Hawk?
I was really thinking, we had some predictions about where Anisha's story was going last week, and that, like her involvement with her complicity with the Venari Rawl, and that everybody was saying like it was much more than she was letting on, and that, like, I saw some fan theories on the internet, and that's like saying like she is the Venari Rawl. I know it's got to be her, And yeah, at the end, we really didn't learn a lot about her. And I think there is obviously a lot there in that, she's, we saw last episode, like she has the reason Caleb is the way he is. And that is, partly because of her and that. And she's, she seems just as brilliant as him. But yeah, we really didn't get that much about it. It was it was a very unsatisfying like end to her arc, and that it should have been a lot more in that. I mean, like, like really in that, like, part of me was thinking like she's gonna die in this episode. This is gonna be like, this is like, this is gonna be that moment where it's like, like Caleb basically is kind of freed from his past through her death, and that, I totally felt that this is where it was going. But yeah, like I said, I did love her. I did love her giving Ake like the boots and that during the testimony, and that, like, not letting her off, and that, I felt like, it's almost like, it's the way people like are approach the Democratic Party nowadays, and that it's like, it's like, it's like your thoughts and prayers really, don't mean anything. Your strongly worded letters and that are doing nothing. It's like they don't improve anyone's situation. They definitely don't like bring about proper justice, for these transgressions.
There's an interesting point that Anisha made. She was like, I was in jail. You never sought me out. Like, you say you were looking for me, but how did I get lost in the system? Like, that would have been like, that was such a little tidbit that could have been way more interesting.
Honestly, like, Tatiana Maslany was so good, and like, she played that character like she knew the whole backstory of that woman. She had lived it. She knew everything, and I was like, fantastic. Like, I was on board. Like, when she was like, "You're guilty," and like, I hope like you feel it like a broken bone every day. I was like, oh, it's so good. I was like, yes, and I that is like what I wanted, like that question, because I feel that, the manichaeism, I don't know if you said it in English, but like the black and white thing, oh, she killed a guy, she needs to go to jail. Oh, she's a convict, escape, she needs to go to jail. Like, I'm like, the punishment mindset that you see here in the US a lot. Like, I don't come from a culture that has that mindset so much, so it was really complicated for me to be like, I mean, I really like the fact that, there was this question of like, are you guilty if you're trying to survive? And I think that there is a moment where when you push people to desperation so much, they're gonna do unforgivable thing. And if you know that, and you're holding the loaf of bread and you're not giving them food, like, this is the story of the French Revolution. Like, people were starving and they were like, you know what? Fuck you. And they took weapons and they took down the whole system and people died. Am I saying that it was good that people died? No. But the thing is that the opposite would be tens and tens and thousands of people would have died. And I'm like, at one point, revolutions go through that. And it is sad, but when you break people so much, they're gonna do crazy things. And I'm like, the story of Anisha Mir is such, like, it's a very Les Miserables. We're talking about Les Miserables, right? It's like Jean Valjean is sent to jail for like 25 years because he stole a loaf of bread, And there's this question of like, well, when society is so broken that I cannot feed myself, and I have also that sense of justice that the system is oppressing me, and I'm a smart woman, well, I'm gonna steal schematics, and you know what? Fuck you. And I like that when Kira does this, Kira is a hero. When Anisha Mir does that, Anisha Mir should go to prison. And I'm like, like, double fucking standards, huh? The Empire. I'm like, I was reading Anisha as Kira so bad, like so much. And I think that is such an interesting question. And when Nahla Ake like defaults to like, it was one day away from retirement, and it was from like this planet, and it was from Hawaii, and I'm like, bitch, we know all that. She is not stupid. She knows that the person she killed is not an NPC. She knows it's a real human. She knows he had most probably a family, that he was doing things, that he was existing. This is not the fucking point. The point is the needs of the many against the needs of the few. And that that show has failed at that question not once but twice. Like during the Miyazaki, where they choose to save 4 cadets against like literally thousands of people, and here where they choose to not comprehend that they have created this issue, and that they can backpedal now. Like the people that are coming against the Federation come from people that were hurt by the Federation letting them down. And Discovery speaks about that. This show speaks about that. And I was like, dang, it was like, they were so close. They were so close to go like somewhere super interesting. Because it is wrong that she killed the pilot. I agree with this. But also, it is wrong that they were left to starve. Like, then where do we go from that? And the fact that he's Hawaiian or has like kids, that doesn't change anything to the fucking story. And I feel like this is appeal. What do you call that in English? Like appeal to emotion, you know?
Yeah,
like
that's what.
Yeah, and I'm just like, that is a wrong argument, Nahla. That is what you call that, like a false argument. This is a false argument. Doesn't change anything. And I was disappointed in this. Yeah. It's very warm. I'm getting worked up also. I'm sorry.
I'm freezing. I'm freezing.
Okay, the Omega particle. Oh yeah. Well, that's basically the Manhattan Project, I suppose, that Nus Braa kind of stumbled onto. But it was made for good. You're just too dumb to see it, Nus Braa. The Federation was doing its best. You're just too poor to see it, Nus Braa. We made good choices, but you're just too angry to see it, Nus Braa. So we are going to that end of that trial. What did you think? I'm gonna move along. Sorry. What did you think of that end for Nus Braa? Like the good guys show up, the Federation, guns blazing, shows up, arrest him in front of the whole TV network. Everybody can see that. He gets he tries to pull the trigger and it doesn't work. Good timing. He's arrested. And then he's restrained, punched twice in the face. Again, still on live TV. They're the good guy, I'm telling you. They have the blue photon torpedoes, Erik. That's why.
It's all about the colors.
It's all about the colors. Okay, what did you think of like that end for Nus Braa? Like the fact that he misconstrued the Omega particle thing, apparently, and that he's just arrested and gonna go back to Federation prison, where he used to be, by the way.
I mean, so Ake can say that they were doing this to find a more sustainable power source. But we all know that like there are parts of the Federation, like Section 31, where they're going to use that for weapons. So Nus Braa is not wrong that the Federation would probably use this for also a weapon. So I was like, okay, fine. We're going to go to the safe ending. I love seeing Sam do her science thing. So I loved seeing that, like the whole, I was hoping the ship would light up like in the first episode, budget constraints or something. I don't know. But this was the safe ending for me. It felt really safe. I'm going to get so hurt by everything that was said. I'm going to get abandoned. I'm going to do the crazy villain thing and, blow it up. Do the speed thing where, Dennis Hopper presses the button. Oh,
you're showing your age, man.
The speed was I was gonna say on TV. That also shows my age. You know what? It was a safe way to go. I thought it was very telling that they're filming his arrest. Like that felt very now. And then the he gets punched on TV. Again, felt very real to now. I don't know. It felt very safe. This was a safe ending for me.
Yeah.
He's arrested. He's not killed. I like that he can come back at any time. I didn't want him to die as a character. So the fact that he's gonna come back like Spock's brother in Strange New World or something, we get something. Cyborg will eventually show up. I don't know. Yeah, it felt very safe to me. They like there was so much moral gray that we have talked about and have experienced in this season that they
Mhm.
went for, I'm gonna go full on villain, try and blow up things, get arrested. Like, oh, okay, that's safe.
Yeah,
It was
because
fine. It was fine.
he's the villain.
He's the bad guy,
He's a bad
right?
guy.
He didn't understand. He didn't understand that science as a child. As a child.
Yeah. Hawk, what did you think of that whole arc for Nus Braa?
Yes, Eric, you're showing your age. You should have said the ending of the Dark Knight, with the Joker and that, right?
That's also showing our
That's
age.
also true. Yeah.
I know.
That was like 20 years ago.
almost 20 years ago.
Also, it's a fucking trope, okay? Like the same
Yeah.
thing then like
Yeah.
one day away from retirement, that I'm gonna pull the trigger.
I'm too old of this shit.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, okay, I've done that 17 billion times in movies.
It was funny.
Yeah. I mean, yes, Starfleet wanted to use it to power planets and that, but like it's a very old argument in that, it's like all great, all great innovations in science first began as like a military project and that. So we know that, Starfleet was working with the mega particle and that, for reasons that we probably don't even want to know, right? So yeah, but for the news,
I do want to know.
Yeah,
That's the thing.
Section 31 knows. I mean, the guys who hired a former Empress from the Terran universe, they know what they were doing with the Omega particle.
Nothing good. Let's face
Nothing
it.
good. Nothing good.
But yeah, I mean, it was this the safe choice in that. Just fridge him, it's like he's the bad guy. Starfleet comes in and that, like, space cops and that, and takes, like down the entire Venari role. I don't know, at least, maybe it's a good thing they didn't like, have him die at the end of it, because, there is a possibility he could come back, maybe not break out of prison. Maybe, maybe we could actually start exploring a little bit of him being some sort of like, kind of criminal consultant and that, like about like, this burn society for like, future episodes. But yes, his arc fell kind of flat, this, especially after episode 6 with him,
Thank you.
It like
Yes.
that was way more a complex deep dive into the guy. It's like, we got to see like, like how smart he was, how much of a, how much of a prick he could be in that, but like also like engaging on the screen and that, but like also that he did have a point in that, it's that like the Federation was not there for him, for his family,
Enemies in law.
Yeah, so that they basically had to, they had to create their own network. He created his own network, and now the Federation's back, and then the Federation's back, and that was going to cut into this. It's like, okay, like, where were you when we actually needed you? And that it's like, we don't need you anymore, but you're coming back anyways,
But it's the thing that's like frustrating about the Venari role, right? They managed to get an energy source and made mines out of it. Not only one mines, but like a billion mines, and kind super fast, managed to put them in place, managed to have them like interlocked, have like I'm like, that Nus Braa is running a tight operation. My man is literally running like something that like is like annexing like whole planets, and the Federation is like, oh yeah, they're gonna annex that planet. I'm gonna do nothing. And I'm like, I don't know. That's how you end up with the Roman Empire.
It really feels like an ignominious end to like, something that was much bigger in scope than Starfleet even realized. It reminded me of like my favorite episode of The Walking Dead, The Last Day on Earth, and that where you see like just how organized the saviors were in that when they're leading Rick and everybody through like their little maze and that, and like how much organization went into that, how much resources went into that, and it's like, that was like that kind of felt like the arc they were building for like Nus Braa, somebody who can like make the most disparate of like, entities come together under one umbrella, like, the fucking Furies, for God's sakes, he actually got them to work for him.
Right?
Yeah.
I agree with everything you said. Like, I'm disappointed by the whole like let's tie up that thing real fast. I think it was very. I mean, I would have been okay if Nus Braa would always have been that like kind of like villain of like trolling my stage and I'm gonna blow up the whole federation, you know? And I'm like, that's not the guy you gave me. And then now that's the guy you gave me. And I feel like maybe you could like try to like warp it into, oh, now he's like so close to power. He has Nahla in his hand. He can like finally like exact his vengeance. And I'm like, but that's not really what you told me, which would have been okay, I suppose. Yeah, I'm like, I feel it's such I just see a lot of like good like story plot started that just didn't go anywhere, and I'm kind of disappointed about that. I feel also like trying to do comical, like honestly, like him being punched in the face twice while being restrained. I was like, that's not funny. I'm like, I don't want to see that. I mean, like, it's kind of shitty. Like, you don't punch somebody that is like attached, first of all. And I'm like, them making it like kind of a like 2-punch joke. Sorry. I was like, eh.
And Aki of all people, Aki doesn't punch people.
I was like, Anisha, yeah, I would be like, Anisha is gonna punch the motherfucker for sure. But I'm like, I okay. And you also hear like he's like tooth go or something like that. I was like, okay, why not? But I'm like, I was not.
Did it not feel like there was something more personal between him and Ake? Like it like that's what it felt like in the first episode, and now it just seems like it's just relegated to him, you know, being sent away at that one time, and that's the reason why he has such a.
I felt like I again, it's weird, and that's what I think I wrote on Blue Sky. I was like, it's not a bad episode. It's not the finale of the Academy. It's a finale of another show that I have not watched. You know, like the tone has shifted, the plots have shifted, the importance have shifted, the humor has shifted. Also, I feel that there's a lot that just were like, you know what? All the people that wrote the other episodes, you're not gonna do that anymore. We're gonna do something, and we're gonna like respect all the contracts and like. And I'm just like, it's not a bad episode. Just like they didn't, for me at least, it was not really sticking the landing. Like I was expecting, when you see 106, when you see 108, when you see 105, you're like, this is going somewhere. This is not where I thought this was going at all. Like at all. Like not at all. Okay, to finish, last thing, let's talk about Caleb. Everybody's happy. The Federation comes in with all their guns. Everybody goes back home, go back to college. We're all friends. We've all grew. And Caleb is now doing a log as a cadet. What did you think of Caleb between his soliloquy to save Nahla and save the Federation to being a happy cadet after, you know, everything that he has gone through this season? Erik?
I do like that he has finally accepted that his family is his friends, and he's not just that little kid trying to find his mom. I like that a lot for him. I like that he knows that this organization, even though maybe he should have just been a school, like gave him some place to be himself finally. Like I like the idea because I know I'm not a teacher, but I see a lot of kids that get to be themselves when they're not at home, like when they're at school. There are times like I have teacher friends. They talk about stuff like this. There's one right here. But like, well, there was something weird about his first soliloquy, right? About how, you know, the Federation is so. It was the whole peaceful. Everything is peace, and then the ships that threw me, right? And
especially after Miyazaki. I'm just like,
yeah. I like the ending with the cadets log because it's the first real one we hear this season, right? Did anyone else give a log?
Sam. Okay. Yes, Sam. I mean, a log,
like an actual log.
No, I think Darren writes to his parents. Sam talks to Cisco.
There's a lot of narration, but I don't think anyone's ever done a log.
We hear the address from the Chancellor. I think it's the first log. Yeah, maybe I think you're right.
I like that we end the season on an actual log, and I like that it's Caleb who's sort of our eyes into this whole thing. I find it strange that he was so happy to be amongst his friends, and Occam's not there. at all.
Okay,
Again,
Sky is not there either.
Kyle's not there.
Justice for Occam and
The
Kyle.
Solo, my favorite Romulan, my sister.
Yeah.
Where is she?
Yes.
No, those two.
The War College is gone, by the way. Have you noticed that the War College is just
They're gone.
gone? They're gone. Gone.
Like we had this group start together in the first episode, but it would have been cool to show Occam and like all these other students because they've gained friends throughout the year, which is what happens. Like I want to see this group grow a little bit more
Mhm.
as we grow with them through all 7 seasons of this, right? But yeah, it's nice. It's nice. It's a good little bookmark because like poetry, it rhymes.
Yep. I'm gonna interrupt you just a minute.
Yep.
But the chat, who is saying it? I think it's Kangoe, I'm not sure. That says that actually Vance calls Omega a classified weapon in 106.
I saw that.
Oh yeah,
Or like
Yep.
and I'm just or like in this in 109, sorry.
Yeah.
And
the
I'm just
last
like,
episode.
okay, the Federation lies. I'm gonna go Team Venereal in a minute. Sorry, Hawk. Go ahead, Caleb.
That's okay. So Caleb, yes, I have loved his kind of arc and that this felt, a little bit like he's drunk the Kool-Aid, right? That he's kind of made that full when he really, this should, his kind of, arc into, Starfleet could have really kind of drawn out a little bit more in that, like how he begrudgingly, accepts it and that at first and that maybe falls in love with it by, the next, season 4 and that, it's like with Mariner and like how we took like 4 seasons to get Mariner, from that arc she begins with over to like season 5 and that, it's like, the most important piece of that puzzle. And that was like held back from us till season 4, we were, with Caleb, we're going back to that metaphor he uses about falling asleep in the snow and that, and dying of hypothermia.
It's Aladdin. He became the prince, man.
Yeah.
Oh, Erik is not here when I finally talk about Aladdin. Jesus.
Yeah, it's based a lot. And he's graduated to the formal prince role now, and that. I mean, I still love Sandra Rasta and his performance and that, so no shade there. He's been great.
Space Rats.
Space Rats.
Aladdin. Justified. I spent all season calling him Space Aladdin, and he called it himself that.
And Space Rat. Fantastic.
Right.
I thought of you when I heard it. I was like,
I was hoping like I said, I was hoping they go a little darker for the arc in that, it's like there's still a lot to work out there. I'm glad he's made up with Tariba and that. I kind of like their relationship, but yeah. There is still a lot we still don't know about him in that. His father. Is that going to come up?
Who cares? I've seen a lot of people be like, who is his father? I was like, I think it's I would like it to be unimportant.
Okay.
Because there's so many women raise children by themselves, especially in conflict zones. Especially, it's like I'm like, give Anisha Mir to be a single mom. Maybe he has 2 moms. Maybe he has only 1 mom. Maybe. She just needed a kid. Maybe she found that. Maybe it's not her biological kid. We don't know. I think that I would like it to be non-relevant for once. I think we have too much who is this dad? Who is mom? I'm like, let her be. Let her be a badass, kick-ass mom, and that's it. I'd be fine with it. I'd be fine with it. I don't know. Caleb, my friend Caleb definitely drank the Kool-Aid, right? And I'm like, they could have. It is too much too fast. That guy, an episode early, which is I know that whole season is 1 year, okay? So there's a lot of things that happened. But 1 episode ago, which was a few hours before, it was still ready to bail. And I'm like, I think that anybody that is 100% into an organization is sus. This is me. I am broken. I grew up with a lot of things. But people were like, this is the best thing, and there's the best people, and they can do no wrong. I'm like, dude, get off drugs. This is there's because people do mistakes, and I think that the Federation accepting, and also Caleb being like, they did fuck up things, but you know what? I want to give them a chance. I wanna. They gave me something that nobody else gave me, and I wanna follow that path and see where it gets me. That I respect. Being they love everyone and they respect everyone. I'm like, well, not Nus Braa. Yeah.
I wish he was more like, I wanted him to talk to the Federation, be like, you still need to be accountable for taking me away from my mother. Like that, like he just like was like, you know what, that's fine now. Like it feels really weird. Like that's still a bad thing that they've done, and I don't know.
And
there could have been more. There's a lot of gray that they don't talk about.
I'm gonna tell you like a personal story. Like my aunt and my uncle came on boat people. They when I was a teen, okay, and so they flew. They escaped conflict, and it was really complicated to get them to safety. They saw horrible things. They went through horrible things that I cannot fathom. I know for a fact that I can't even compute. Even if I know, I can compute them. Okay, horrible shit. Once they arrived in France and they were safe and they were living with my family and they were fed and all this and all that, there was one thing that they had been like, that they taught, that there had been taught is like, never tell them your actual age, because everybody's trying to be a minor so they get protected, right? And my dad was like, I remember when you were born and I was that age. There's no way you're that young. And I remember these endless fights in my home. They would not let go. Even when they became French citizen, even when they got all their paper, they never told their actual birth date. Their birth date on their French passport is just 1st of January something. And I'm like, when people go through shit, there's something that they hold as like a way to be, I don't trust anybody. I will always get an out. And I'm like, Caleb went through hell for 16 years by himself. And horrible shit must have happened to him. And him being just like, a year in the academy, I trust these guys with my whole life. I'm like, that is a little bit too fairy telling. And also, and that's, I think that is one of my issue also with like these, like the big bad is always easily recognizable. The good people always win. And if you're good at heart, you will see the good people. It's like, that is not how life is. And that's also an issue because people don't see evil, or don't see like problematic people if they're not villain coded. And I'm like, a lot of problematic people are not villain coded. That's not how it is. And that's why I liked what his face, Erin Wright, in Discovery, because he was not villain coded so much. It was complicated to read. Then they fucked it up. But I like that guy at the beginning. I'm looking forward to season 2, honestly. I like Caleb. I think he's a complicated character. I think that finale and how he acts in it is not necessarily the best character writing that we had of him this season. But, you know, they did a great job. I loved when he was calling out Starfleet colonialism in 106. I thought it was so interesting to see that external vision into the Federation. Anyway, it is the end of our review. Do you have last thoughts about the season finale? We're gonna go reverse order. Hawk.
So I have no doubt I've enjoyed the hell out of this season a lot more than I thought I would. It's been some great writing, some great casting, some everything. This finale was a bit of a letdown. They went this again. We're going to emphasize that they went the safe route. It's like they started asking hard questions, but they didn't like where that was going to go with that, and they wanted the happy ending of that. And that's what we got with this. So yeah, a little disappointed. It's not. It's like I said, it's not overly bad. It's like I didn't leave here confused like I did with some season finales that of Star Trek we've seen in the past. Yeah, and so it was definitely a little lacking in that. this is a great time, like in Star Trek, and that there's lots of options, to explore in this universe. Post Burn Society, Federation coming back. It needs to tap more into that. It's like, it's not the same Federation. It's not the same Star Trek. This is different. It's for, we know it's for a younger generation. But, that's also the same generation that's grown up with the golden age of television, and that we kind of demand a little bit more out of our TV viewing experiences now, and that we don't want, the rah, Starfleet. It's like, let's do a finale where we're asking some hard questions and, having to confront it.
We're gonna get a Starfleet anthem. You realize that, right?
Yeah.
It's been a long road. That's their anthem.
From here to there. Nah, I don't know that song. I refuse to know that song. Erik.
They're gonna do it. It's just gonna be an instrumental version. It's gonna be beautiful, and everyone's gonna be like, yeah, look how subtle we're being. Here's the thing. This was a fine episode. It was fine. Like, it was fun. It was entertaining. It was beautiful. Like, there's some really good production things. The special effects are amazing.
Yeah.
We got to see Jet Reno do more in this episode than all of Discovery.
True.
Which, that's all I wanted during all of Discovery, ever since they were introduced. That being said, I would like more of Jet Reno.
Mm-hmm.
I feel the thruple will be back. Yeah. That would be hilarious, Gene. That would be hilarious.
Starfleet anthem is Starfleet. Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
I totally lost my train of thought. Okay, no, I got where we're going. The thing about this season is that we were touching upon so many gray areas of the Federation that we could have continued that in this episode. Like, I like seeing the morally gray. I like that they discussed it earlier on, but the fact that they just sort of threw it all away in the last episode for this black and white view of morality. Morality is not that. We all know this. We've watched enough Game of Thrones and Night of the Seven Kingdoms.
Night of the Seven Kingdoms, I was gonna say.
Which is way better than Game of Thrones. So if you haven't seen it, people out there,
yeah.
go watch Night of the Seven Kingdoms.
I want to thank Jesse Gender for making me watch that show, because I promised I was never gonna watch anything Game of Thrones ever again, and I actually loved it. So
it's so good. It's the best Game of Thrones. Anyway, that's not what I'm part of. This episode was lacking a lot of things for me, just like little things. Like I wanted to see a little more of each of the students. I wanted to see Laura Thok. Like, she was an important part of this season. The fact that she's sort of absent the whole time. Occam, we've mentioned many times, who's become a core member of this group, just gone. Kyle, I'm fine with the thruple, but he wasn't. I'm trying to think. There's a lot of things that could have just made this like super special. It's a fine ending, but it could have been something special, and we saw it. We saw the writing in the wall, like that. It was just there. They could have just.
It was just there. It was
just
so
there.
close.
It was so cool.
Yeah.
Like Kelrick too. We didn't see Kelrick this episode, and he has grown so much in this whole season.
Yeah.
They teased the opening of the new Federation, whole like government on Beta that whole goddamn season. I thought it was gonna end with them opening it on Beta. No, fuck you.
Yeah.
You don't get anything.
Yeah, I thought we would have seen. I didn't think we would go back to San Francisco. I mean, it makes sense for the to make it a bookend. Oh yeah, we have Rufus Wainwright singing another song at the end. Please buy it on Apple Music or whatever they say. But yeah, it could have been special. This episode was good. It could have been super special.
Yeah, I agree with everything you said. I mean, I was surprised not seeing Discovery. I'm like, I know it was apparently on the window. Like, I'm like, it's International Women Month. Give me Captain Burnham for a second, like just a little bit. We could have seen the meeting with President Rilek. That would have been so good. I would have loved that. Like a tease, a thing. She comes out of the shuttle, something like this. Beta Z has been like here so much. We don't get to see Beta Z. And I'm like, all this is because I want to do tourism. Leave me alone. I want to see things. Like, it's okay. But I I was super happy to see Laura and Jetrina holding hands, because we know
That's
how
cute.
much Star Trek has been like kind of forgetting their gay couple sometime in the middle of season. So I like that. Jetrino, like amazing character. And I know it was very difficult for Team Notaro to film during COVID. That was when they shot Discovery, and that's also why we couldn't see her so much during Discovery. And I was so glad that she got to be like such an incredible teacher. It was so fun. As a teacher, I loved her in that episode.
She
It was
such a good captain.
Jetrino, Sam, love those two in that episode. I love the end credits. I thought the end credit was so fun.
Oh
With,
my
like,
god, it's the picture of Tignataro.
with them, like the picture of them, like young and baby. I was like,
So cute.
this
Robert
is so
Robert Picardo. I was just like, who's what?
What?
I was like, I thought it was such a good idea, and like I paused and read all the little things, and I thought it was so cute, and it was so like such an emotional kind of a personal thing, and I like going through a yearbook, and I really
Why
liked
were
it.
all their classes 3196?
That was my I was gonna say that was my sole problem, is that they could have put like their Starfleet classes for all the teachers, and I thought it would have been nice.
I was so
But
confused.
they don't want to put things on canon or whatever. It's the yearbook
Yeah,
of that
that's
year, so
fair.
it's like, but it shouldn't be class anyway. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm a little bit, I felt a little bit let down, because that series has been edging me towards like a political reckoning for the Federation, having like those deep political conversation, and then it was not a bad episode by any means necessary, because every time I say that I have problem with something, people are like, you didn't like it. I didn't dislike this episode. Did I love it? No. But I didn't dislike it. It was an okay episode of TV, as you said. It was more than aggressively fine. I think it was not bad, honestly. But I felt that it just was not following through what they had set up for the character arcs for those people, and it went too fast. They could have done the same time. It's a little bit more than an hour. I think it's kind of a longer episode, if I remember well.
It's the longest one of the
107.
season.
And they could have like really be on the trial and really try to dig. Like Tatiana Maslany was fucking incredible. Like, God, like I'm sad that they had to age her, because I'm pretty sure she looks as young as Sandra Rosta at this point. She's 40, he's 26. I'm like, come on. And so yeah, I'll go watch the second season. I'm here for it. I still give them 5 stars. I love that season. I think they did a good job, a great job. It just not really where I thought the finale would go. That's it. Okay, it is time for our mailbag. If I can find the button for the mailbag.
Open.
Hey. Where was I? Let's go. Erik, you can take Matt Hacker, please. Oh, by the way, sorry, I'm gonna address the chat a minute. Erik the Red, no, you cannot change your mailbag. Now that I managed to change your opinion about the episode, you cannot go back. Erik, go ahead. This is permanent. This goes on your record, Erik. Erik the Red, not Erik.
Not Erik the me. Matt Harker wrote, I really enjoyed the finale. It was a wild season and great to see Reno in charge and later Genesis. Seeing the Academy deface, especially the tree on fire, gave me Minas Tirith in Flames vibe. I really enjoyed Sam's portrayal of her 2.0 self, and it was awesome to see her save the day. Admiral's beard was bearding, and for the briefest second, I thought I might see President Rillick once again. The not-so-veiled references to current events being wrapped around a lie was lost on no one and left me wondering how it got past Paramount's new leadership. Lastly, I absolutely love the youngin photos, which really left me wanting to hang with Tig in the 80s with that amazing mane of hair. Bring on year 2.
I want to remind everybody that this show was written and shot a few years ago. 2 years ago, yeah. All right. Hawk, can you get Dave Prime, please?
Sure. Dave Prime wrote, just finished watching the episode. I'm just a tad underwhelmed. While a great conclusion to the roller coaster of a season, I was expecting to see just a little more punch. The fact that Anisha did find Aki guilty of the charges brought forth against her was slightly unexpected, and the dramatic delay by Braca from pushing the detonator was peak Star Trek arrogant beauty. He thought he'd won and savored the moment until the detonator said, "Error," and try again to no avail. To see him in his hour of triumph rapidly descend into defeat when the full truth was brought to light, again, Trek being Trek. Not seeing him die, will he make a return in the future? A future season? Time will tell. But seeing Loreno, sorry.
Loreno, yeah.
Loreno, did I just come up with that ship name?
Yes.
Together at the end made my heart melt. The biggest disappointment is not seeing Krebs trying to clean up the mess his furfly had wrought throughout the season. Maybe next semester.
Yeah, we also saw the Dean of Student. We saw Colbert. His photo was in the end. I like
Yep.
like
Oh
that.
yeah.
That's the only time we see him this whole season. I'm gonna take Preller. Preller wrote, Nus was never gonna win. It was about the scenery getting chewed on the way there, literally and figuratively this time. And what a feast. Caleb's turn still was paced a little strangely, but Reno's lesson set it right. Almost flinched at the song at the end, but with the picks, it works beautifully. Does it rise to the repeatable, rewatchable season enders of Trekdom? Not quite there, but close. And it doesn't have to be, by the way. Let's just enjoy the moment. Erik, can you take Emily Ree?
Emily rewrote a trial episode. Honestly, if you have three powerhouses in Hunter, Giamatti, and Maslany, who wouldn't just put them in a room and let them do their thing? I appreciate that they skipped the opening monologue and that music and just went simple. Me too, to be honest. Braca's
Yeah.
motivation were a tad disappointing, but Anisha's were that much more believable. Sad we didn't get Discovery, but also not surprised. All in all, a great season finale to a great season. This is peak Trek, and I want so much more.
Hawk, can you take Christian S?
Sure. Christian S. wrote, how the heck did Commander Reno become one of my most favorite leader characters in Star Trek? That weird engineer on Disco just transformed and was great all season, but absolutely kicked ass in command this week. Also, Genesis is giving me Gwendolyn vibes, and that cannot be an accident.
Oh.
Aww. Erik the Red wrote. If you want to put addendum, put them in the chat, Erik. Erik the Red wrote, I'd fly with Captain Reno any day to anywhere. This finale is one of the best Trek has had in a while. Nustofer, also being the kid who didn't grow up, pairs well with Caleb, but also pairs with a lot of the cadet this season. Once again, having the cadet crew work together to solve the problem is classic Trek and shows how much they've grown together. This trial was an interesting and probably needed critique of the Federation. It could have gone further, but then again, the trial never ends. What a great way to end the season, and leaves me wanting a second season. Oh, yeah. The addendum is not the best finale. Erik, you crack me up. Well, this is all for Starfleet Academy. I want to say again, what a joy and a thrill and an honor it has been to host this season with you, with Emcee, with Julian. I've learned to push all the buttons like a big girl. And also, I have written every single one of these outlines.
They're damn
Yes,
good.
yeah.
They're damn good.
Yeah, it was not a given, but I've done it. I have grown also alongside the cadets. And we will not see you next week because we're going to take a very well-deserved break. However, I'm just want to put everybody like a little bit on the calendar for this. Next week, if you read Trek movie, The Masked Singer is having a special Star Trek night. I highly encourage you to look people in the audience. That's all I'm gonna say.
Wink, wink.
With this, I bid you good night and adieu. See you in 2 weeks. Live long and prosper. Sarcastic Vulcan salute. Where's the button?
I thought you wrote it down.
Thanks for beaming into our podcast today. If you want to keep the hailing frequencies open, you can subscribe on Apple and Google Podcasts, YouTube, and Spotify. Like what you hear? Put in a good word with Starfleet and leave us a 5-star review.